Welcome to A Women's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we attempt to lift the veil of mystery around Mysterious Brewing as we chat to co-founder Ken. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us!
Hello and welcome to Ken from Mysterious Brewing. Thank you for joining us today. Very excited to talk to you.
Hello, how are you doing? Very surreal to be on here with the now you're in my face as well as
Oh god, yeah. Apologies for that. That is don't like to be in people's faces. But yeah, no, that's super excited to have you on, obviously. It's really funny because I remember Jo saying that she spoke to you at an event that you guys were both at.
It was Andy's birthday before Craft Theory.
Yep.
Because I saw her after and she was like, I spoke to Ken of I want to get him on the podcast. And I was like, yeah, definitely. And then I went, I just didn't ask because when you see people out socially, you just go, I don't want them to feel like they have to. So I was like, I didn't really want to ask you so that you felt like you had to. And then Joe's like, no, I spoke to him. And I was like, nice. So excited to finally get you on here.
Yeah, that's great. I thought we possibly had a drunken conversation about it on the launch at the Hive. Because
I think we did.
Whenever I see you two guys, it's sort of, I'm semi-sober at the start of the night and then by the end of it, who knows what's going on.
To be fair, when I saw you at the Hive, I think that was also after another beer another beer festival or something, because I saw you afterwards after that.
Yeah,
and I think
Elusive's birthday, wasn't it?
It might have actually been. It was their birthday, and I think we went there after. And yeah, it was really. I've got photos from that night. I mean, they're crooked photos, but it's really good of us out in front of the Hive with Alex.
You gotta love a crooked photo.
Yeah. A whirlwind. That's great. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Be on here. Thank you very much for the invite.
Welcome.
Anytime.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know who you are, who Mysterious Brewing is, why don't you give us a high level overview of who you are, what you do, what the brewery is about?
Right, well, the highest level I can achieve of overviews. So I'm one half of Mysterious Brewing. It's me and Adam, and Mysterious Brewing, and we are probably about 5 months old now. Both come from homebrewing background. Won competitions, just really enjoyed just making beer, going to various beer events, and we probably met before it was probably seeded, Tori, Bottle Share, I believe it was.
We did, because I remember I think we'd run into each other casually, but never introduction or anything, because you just looked really familiar, and then everyone's like, yeah, he's the guy that painted the wall at Elusive, and I was like, I have seen him at Elusive a few times, but it's that thing of you run into someone and you kind of go, oh, hi, because they look slightly familiar. But the Bottle Share was the first time we actually met, and you had said, oh, I've got the new brewery open. I was like, tell me about this, please.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So it's kind of came from Elusive are quite central to a lot of this. So I painted Andy's tap room, I don't know, a few years ago now, and obviously I thought I'll go in there, I'll paint the tap room, get loads of advice off Andy, the nicest man in brewing, and the main advice. Yeah. The main advice he gave me, he said, go and join Reading Amateur Brewers. Yeah. So I did. I joined Reading Amateur Brewers. Brilliant place. So much knowledge there. And then the first competition I entered, I won, and it was a chance to brew a beer at Elusive. So
amazing.
Terrible script. So I went back down to Elusive and brewed the beer, and that was scaled up for Burgtoberfest. There's a big beer festival in Burfield, and coincidentally, while I was there, more bad film script, there's Andy Watts from Little London Brewery. He does cask only. Got a small brewery up in Little London, Silchester, and he said to me and Adam, oh look, if you ever want to come and do a big brew, one-off something, come down. I don't use much of the kit. He just uses his pilot kit. So we were like, oh yeah, brilliant, yeah. Over enthusiastic home brewers, brilliant. And that then snowballed into we could start brewing there, and he's just been really supportive. So that's the seeds of Mysterious Brewing. So we cuckoo brew at Little London. It would have been not far off this time last year, and we started snowballing. Then won another competition, which JD, formerly Wild Weather, was judging. So it's like, yeah, all the signs are there, playing the main character in a bad script. So Adam, my business partner, he's been looking to get into the brewing world for quite a few years, be it either a tap room or a brewery. He's quite a smart old cookie, is Adam. And he's a good home brewer as well. And so, yeah, we formulated this plan. We put, as you can imagine, starting a brewery with all alcohol licenses and everything involved with it. We'd organised it. We thought we wanted 3 beers to start off, and obviously you do a few test runs and they go down the drain, learning as you go. And so yeah, we bought 2 big fermenters, which again Andy Watts has been so good to us. Let us put into his place, and so 1,000 litre and an 850, and we launched on. It was a bank holiday, and I don't even remember what that weekend was. It was May. We had that spate, didn't we? Of like 3 bank holidays in 2 weeks, which seems undoable. So we launched on one of them, and we had lots of events, and we managed to launch with 4 beers because the other one was just ready, just in time. And we've been hitting Reading pubs. So one of our launch, the first one was at the Nag's Head, which felt a bit ridiculous, like homebrewers going to have your beer at the Nag's Head. They were really supportive. The ale house, and all over Reading, and bottle shops have been really supportive of us, like the Hive. And I find myself here today. Can only be me here today. Adam's elsewhere, but it's just been a whirlwind, really. I mean, we've had some great reviews of the beers, and everybody, as you guys know, everybody in the beer industry is so supportive. From like Double Barrel, Ascot, obviously Elusive, and everyone said we can just pick up the phone at any point for anything we sort of need to know. And we've just kind of exploded from the spot from there, really. So it's I say a bit of a whirlwind. And
I feel like it's definitely like the scene over in like the Berkshire area as well. Yeah. It's like there's a lot, like there's a really good beer scene, but I feel like sometimes it gets underestimated compared to like other locations, because I think of how spread out a lot of like places are and how small some places are. So like, Joe and I were just talking about this the other day, like Dolphin Brewery, for example, is so small that it's like people probably don't even know, like people probably haven't seen even Dolphin or stuff like that, but like everyone is so over here, from my experience of craft theory and going to like those events, like so friendly, so nice. And it's nice to hear that from your side, you feel that everyone's quite supportive as well, in terms of like on the business side of it, that it's not just from the outside it looks like everyone's supportive. The fact that you felt supported as well is just makes me feel really happy.
Massively, yeah. We've come up against, luckily, I'm sure there's always someone, isn't there? But we've come up against, of like, from the first few beers we did was like, and then we realised, as I'm sure Joe, he's like, you not like a homebrew, you can just go, we want these hops, these malts, and this yeast.
Right. Yeah, no.
You're like, you can't have that. Like, well, that's all right. I bought 200 grams of it when I did that small beer.
Right.
And you're like, only 10 kilos of it now. So then that's been great to sort of borrow yeast and hops. Now we're actually sorted out. We're planning in advance our brews and what we want to do. But it's been so great. And of course, you just take for granted where you live, don't you? So when we were at Peakender, we were chatting with somebody and they were saying, oh, well, great, where have you set up? And we're like, oh, we're about so many miles from Reading. And they're like, they just like rolled their eyes, like, what they got in the water down there? There's so many of them. And because they're obviously in the beer scene, they knew of like Dolphin and all the the big and the small. And we're like, I suppose it is. I mean, some people could look at it as saturated, but there's room for everyone, isn't there? I mean, general beer lover wants selection.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that as well, because obviously like in Windsor now you've got like Indie Rabble, and they're next to Two Flints, and obviously you've got like Hoppy Place as well around the corner. And I remember, were you there, Joe, when we went with, was me, you and Rick, when we went to Two Flints, and I said, oh, Indie Rabble's opening up like next door, it'll be really cool. And obviously my husband's not like, you've met him, Ken, but like he comes with me to like beer stuff because he's like, yeah, it's cool, I'll get into it, it's fine, but he's not massively like into the scene or anything like that. He just appreciates a good beer. And he was like, oh, it's interesting that they're opening up next to each other, like is that not like a negative thing, like to open up next to another brewery? And then we started trying to like have a conversation. Actually, no, I guess it's sort of, you like you said, there's always that one-off instant where like that's probably not a good idea, but like by and large it is a pretty good, in my opinion, for like as a consumer anyways. I know I can go to one location and I can go to a bunch of places. Like, what is not to love about that? Like, everyone wins, because I'm going to make the effort to go around all the places.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how people, and it's surprising me, and I have to remember every time someone talks about someone like Siren being our competition. I mean, we're tiny compared to Siren, but they've been really helpful as well. It's like they're not. I mean, I don't know if there's another industry that's like it. There probably are, but it's. I mean, yeah.
There's space for everyone, really, isn't there? It's like there's competition. It's friends more than
it's the
competition.
thing that I really like about beer is the beer community, and how everyone helps each other out and gives each other advice, and like it's not like it's that collaboration. Like, it's not just about like two breweries getting together to make a beer together. It's sharing that knowledge and you know, the amount of times I've had brewers who have been like, oh yeah, we were doing this thing, and then like I ran out of this ingredient, so I rang up so and so down the road, and they were like, oh yeah, I've got some, you can have some of mine, and you know, everyone just helps everybody out. Like, it's a real community. It's the thing that I really like about it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, even so, before got into brewing, like yourselves, you'd be around tap rooms, and me and Sarah, my wife, we'd go out somewhere, and it would be just the two of us. I've got friends that drink, but the two of us would go somewhere, and we'd always, at the end of the evening, we've just sat next to some random people and met them and know half their life story. We don't really do that. When we go on holiday, we don't go, oh, you've met someone from Leeds, and we keep ourselves to ourselves. But in a tap room, it just happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just chat to people.
Your wife is so lovely as well. She's so nice.
One other thing I must say is that between me and Adam is that we've got very good wives. You can't do what we're doing without having very good supportive.
We've got really good husbands.
Yeah.
They work out really nicely as well, so they put up with a lot.
A lot, yeah. I guess before I think what would be really exciting is to just crack open one of the beers before we go into talking about sort of like how you found setting up the brewery in general, or like what was there, you know, the particulars there. But I think, which one do you want to go first? You've very kindly given us these beers, and I really appreciate it. So we've got the Citra Triangle.
Yeah,
we've got the
start with that would be a good idea.
That one, cool. Yeah. Let's go with that one.
Okay.
So how did you come up with this recipe?
So this recipe, as most breweries have a single hop beer series.
Yep.
We obviously wanted ours, and it's a bit route one to. Oh gosh, I'm terrible pour. It's a bit route one to go Citra, because obviously Citra's the ubiquitous hop. But for me, I thought you starting with that. I mean, you know, you're coming out the gate, you knew Citra, everyone. So and we wanted sort of the best base for it. It wasn't sort of, you know, there's no point in making a real malt heavy beer for that. So it's quite a simple grist of Marisotto and Vienna, but the Vienna gives it quite a soft sort of mouthfeel, and on cask particularly, it's just really really quaffable.
It smells amazing.
And the triangle is because 3 malts, so the other one's Cara malts, I believe. Yeah. Carapil, sorry. And the Citra's added at 3 different stages. So the triangle.
This is so so smooth.
Yeah.
It is so smooth and easy drinking.
Yeah.
That is just a nice 5%.
Yes.
Very sessionable.
Doesn't drink like a 5%, and you can imagine on cask because you don't have the carbonation. It just goes down crazy. But I think the Vienna and the Carapils is just making that super drinkable.
It's just a lovely, like, it's not sweet, but there is just
this little tiny
perceived sweetness there. That just,
towards the back end, there is that little
lovely.
Well, between me and Adam, we don't particularly like. If you had a favourite way to divide your beers, I'd prefer sweeter over dry, but not major lactose sweets.
Yeah.
So, and these are all things that now people are saying, and they've tried a range of our beers. Your beers are like this, they're balanced, or they're this, and we try not to overthink what we do. We sort of think like this, like, well, okay, we'll showcase a single hop, and we've chosen Citra, and then what would you want to sit and drink, rather than overthinking. Well, do people like certain styles? I mean, otherwise you're just going to turn yourself in circles, just going to the market. And so far so good, really. I mean, this has gone down really well. So I did the bar at the Cask and Cork the other week down in Yately at the beer festival, and this sold out first, which was quite good. As I was working the bar all weekend, I thought, yeah, brilliant.
That's nice.
Literally wearing a t-shirt.
How many festivals have you been able to get to, like, from a mysterious point of view? That sounds really like ominous. Like from a mysterious point of view.
Our beers, our beers have been at so many. I mean, we've obviously been trying to get out there, but we've to the point where people are contacting us. They've heard about us.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's really good. So, it started at Bracknell Beer Festival because that was literally the weekend that we launched. And again, that was we helped run the bar for that. And finding more and more that I really enjoy that. I mean, I'm sure that'll wear off, but
Tori likes that.
I like it.
But it's great because you're finding what people's words are for beer, because people coming up, and I know what most of the beers taste like that are on display, and I found like the last time I did it, is people saying I don't want to think too hoppy. And I'm thinking, but I found out what a lot of them actually meant was they didn't want it to be bitter.
Yeah.
So, but it took me a little while to work that out, because this is what I gave somebody this that said they didn't like it too hoppy, which, I mean, you can clearly smell.
It's hoppy.
It clearly is, yeah.
Yeah. And then,
It's not bitter.
But it's because it has that smoothness to it as well.
Yeah.
Like, that is just...
because I think
definitely...
I'd said to them, I said, well, what have you had? And they said, I had Little Giddy, the Ascot one, which is lovely, but it's like 3.4%. I'm thinking, well, the only thing I would say about that is it's quite bitter for its ABV. So then, yeah. So then the next three people that said they didn't want something bitter, like, it worked. It's like, okay, you just want something that's a bit sweeter. But it's great to just sort of like educate people in what they want.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that come up and say, well, I only really drink lager. And we give them something like this or Plan B of ours, and they're like, oh, I like that. And it's just because they've not got out of the comfort zone to try it. And I always like it to sort of, if there was a Nepalese, if you've never had Nepalese food, you say, well, I don't ever like it. And you're not going to go somewhere and spend £15 on a main meal.
Yeah.
You're going to sort of go to a buffet, have everything, and think, well, I like this, this, and this. So that's why beer festivals are the best place to sort of try out. But yeah, so we've been in lots of them. We were at Newbury at the weekend. That was massive. When I dropped off the casks, there's like 5,000 people there in there.
Wow.
They had their own I say gazebo, their own marquee for cask, for keg, for cider and spirits. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was massive.
That is...
Yeah. So so we've been in, well, you could probably name one that's relatively local, and we've been in it this year, which has been amazing. So now our diary's just like, they're all put into there, to the point where really we need to make more cask. But of course, good problem to have, really.
Right?
I was gonna. Yeah, that's a nice problem to have. Is it one of those things as well that, like, are you future planning for kind of like next year as well already, and kind of eyeing where you want to go next year, and starting kind of looking that way, given where we are in the year, or is it too soon? I don't know how these things work.
No. I mean, I think we'll do some beer. I don't know if you had Avalon, which was one of our launch beers, which is an English pale. I think we'll do that as just a whole cask, whereas normally we do a bit of cask, normally 350 or 700 cans, and then kegs. But so the cask doesn't seem to be a problem selling. So I think we're looking now more at sort of the kegs, sort of tap rooms and things to get into, because more pubs will take cask than keg.
Yeah.
Inside a problem, but of course everyone's trying to get in on them, but they obviously last longer. Cask goes in like 4 days, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sure you've had the conversation on it before, the Mad Irish is the cheapest drink in the pub, and I love that. And it's just, it shouldn't be. Everyone should be like on their knees for it. It's a live product.
Live product. You've got to look after it properly.
That's it.
How to do it properly.
Yeah. But there you go. Yeah. So cars, and then we've been doing our own like pop up, because we don't have a tap room where we are. We've been doing our own little pop ups at events and things. Nice. So it's just been great. I just enjoy going out and serving people and just seeing people. What people think of it. I mean, they know we brewed it, so it's almost even better when you're in the pub and someone's having it and they don't know you're standing next to them and they're saying nice things. So
Yeah.
that's always nice, because that's the main thing. Our advertising could be the best or the worst, but if your beer's not drinkable, then you've got a business, have you?
So true. Yeah.
I find it incredibly rewarding as well at like when you're behind a bar or beer festival and like you said, when someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, what, I don't know what I want, and then you're like, okay, what do you normally drink? And then they do that situation. Someone did this at London Craft Beer Festival where they were like, well, I normally like this, and then you look at what you have on and you go, that is none of those things, and then you have to kind of make a decision of like, based on the context clues of what you've given me, what do I think you will like? And yeah, when you actually get one that you go, try this one, see if you like this, and they try it and they go, oh, amazing. Like, you're like, yes, we did it. When they're like, actually, because you can tell when it's genuine and it's not, because someone will go, they'll try a bit, and then if they go, yeah, I'm going to just have like a third or a half of that, that's when you kind of go, nice, because that's not just like a disingenuous, oh, that was good, like that was I enjoyed that, I want the rest of the glass filled with that, please. And it is always feels like such a good victory when you manage to pick something for someone and they really enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think some people probably assume there's a lot of gatekeeping, which again I'm sure there is, but that's and I don't see a lot of it, to be honest. Maybe with that side of craft beer that we're not going to bump into it, but like if someone says to me they're getting coconut from a beer I don't think it's got coconut in it, they're getting coconut. You can't argue that, can you? And I'm not going to say, well, it can't be coconut, you're probably getting XYZ, but then to point out flavours they might be getting, and then the Rolodex goes in their head and sort of it's beer, isn't it? Beer's like not one thing. People that say, oh, don't drink beer, and that's great, you might not, but once you've tried 15 different styles, come back to me and say,
I think that's it. I think that's part of the challenge.
Beer. What is air quotes beer?
I think that's part of the challenge as they think about like a potentially overly carbonated or particular type of lager or something like that. They have this.
Say macro lager.
I'm not going to say it. Macro lager. So they think about this macro lager they tend to get, and they might have had experience drinking when they're younger and had not great experience, and that's what's in their head of what beer is. If they don't look at like the range of the different varieties that are out there, and I do think that there is a little bit of like a learning curve to it as well, of like you have to try a lot to try to figure out what works for you. And I think like sometimes people just go, they try one or two or three and then they go, I've tried those things and I don't like it. But actually what they might be trying are really extreme versions of things, like sours, for example. Joe and I talk all the time about like when you're having a sour, I'm not going to give someone a Flanders red that's never had a sour before and then be like, you're gonna absolutely, like, no one's getting the Duchess and being like, you're gonna love this is great. You might go like, here's like a Vault City session sour or something like that, just to kind of ease into it. Like I had someone ask me about like which beers I recommended and stuff. I was like, oh, this Holy Goat are great, and they're like, I'm gonna go get one, but they don't normally drink beer. And I was like, okay, I mean, do you want to try mine first? Like, I was like, as much as I'm saying that I really really like this beer, maybe you need to try a little bit of it first, because it is potentially more of an acquired taste. Not to say that you might not like it from the get-go, but I do think that it's, if you don't sort of sometimes ease your way in or find the right entry and gateway for you, it just might turn you off completely, and you might be like, I've tried a few different things and it's just not for me. So yeah, there is some definite validity to people being like, oh, I don't like it, it's not for me, and you're just like, but try this.
And a lot of people, again, goes back to cask, is like, I've had plenty of bad cask over there, but I've got the confidence to take it back, whereas someone could have tried two and they've been horrible. But that's, as far as they know, that's what it tastes like.
But,
it's bad, and there's a good chance. There's a higher chance if you're having bad cask than there is, say, any sort of draft beer, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's an incredibly valid point that I don't even think I would have thought of. I mean, they could have a bad keg beer as well, to be honest. Like, they could have just had something that was not looked after. You don't know
dirty lines
where it's come from. Yeah, 100%.
We had a bad bottled beer the other week. Table full of beer people as well. So it was like, oh no. In a restaurant, me and the person next to me got the same bottle, same beer in a bottle. Mine was fine. Theirs was really buttery. And I was just, and he was like, "Oh, this is really terrible." And I was like, "No," I was like, "Well, mine's right." And we swapped, and I was like, there was an infection in your bottle. I was like, because it wasn't draft, it was bottle. So I was like, your bottle, something was wrong with your particular bottle. So we got the guy back over, and we were like, "Listen, like, this beer's off." And he's like, "I've been serving it all day." And I was like, "Not this bottle." I was like, "Right, so we've both got the same thing." I was like, "Mine is fine and his is not." I'm like, "Smell it." And he was like, "No, I'll just get you another one." But we were just like, but I was like, "Please smell it so you know why it's wrong."
I like to think that he sat there like, yeah,
like,
sure, I'll just get you another one.
Just get you another one. And I was just like, "No, but seriously, like, this, you need to know what's wrong, why this is wrong, and not just tell me that you've been serving it all day and it's fine, because it's not."
Yeah, but it's that trouble with that, not educating your staff, is it? And probably because they've been paid.
Right. And it wasn't it wasn't a beer place, it was a restaurant, and so I get it, but I was just like, fine, but.
That's a really valid thing to think about, though, isn't it? Because I wouldn't even thought, like, yeah, if you were a person that wasn't confident about your, knowledge about beer, like, you would just take that and you'd go, yeah, I guess that's just what it tastes like, and that's not for me. You wouldn't even know that was an off flavour. Yeah.
So, the last beer festival I went to, there was a saison on cask, which I thought the bold move, and it was nice, but it was weird because it was on cask. And everybody that asked for it, I had to say, "Do you know it's a saison?" And I'd give people a sample, and some people were like, "Yeah, no, I like saison, it's nice."
Yeah.
But of course, some people were like, "Oh, I'm glad you told me, warned me of that, because it tastes off." And yeah, if you'd gone into the pub and thought it was Landlord and you got saison,
right, you'd be like, "What has happened to this beer?"
Yeah, it's got the funk, but the funk's supposed to be there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But you wouldn't know.
I completely agree with kind of what you said earlier as well about, like, with the gatekeep. Like, I know that gatekeeping is I have seen gatekeeping happen, but I think it's who you surround yourself with as well, to a degree. So, like, you don't necessarily see it when you surround yourself with people that are not doing those behaviours, and that's like a really good thing to have, is to be like, well, let's just not hang out with those people that are gatekeeping. So yeah, I think that, like, at least the people that run around like these circles areas, there's not a lot of people that I've seen gatekeeping. What I've seen is outside of the circles of gatekeeping. So yeah, that's.
I suppose my view is always as a middle-aged white man as well. So I'm sure you've had people going, "You're right, love. What do you know?"
Oh. Well, we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a whole other. That's a whole other episode.
whole other episode on that.
Back to your brewery. So as I'm like nearly done, and I'm doing my best to try to save some for later, and it's just so moreish. It's so really easy to drink that I'm like, oh. Yeah. So what was the first beer that you brewed? Like, what was the first one that at a commercial level, outside of like the one that you did under the banner of Mysterious?
Yes. Okay, so the first one we did was called Plan B, which kind of goes back to the not being able to get anything in time. So the original one that was supposed to be was Cursed, but that was cursed because everything kept going wrong. Like, I think the day we went to, or the week we were going to brew it was, I think we didn't have the yeast. There was an ingredient we didn't have. And so Adam came round to mine, and I was doing all these sort of test brews, and I said, "Well, I've made this." And we were like, "Actually, that's lovely." Yeah, so that became Plan B, because it literally was Plan B. Like, we're brewing it, and we could get all the ingredients. We were like, "Oh, brilliant, yeah." And that was an interesting. So that's so it's an American hopped pale, but East Kent Golding's in it as well. Because coming from homebrewing, you're sort of you're set by the dynamics of BJCP, which is the guide, isn't it? And the guide's there for a good reason. Otherwise, you just have so many varied beers. And when I'd make stuff for competitions, I did, but just me, I always have to put a twist on everything. If I'm making a shepherd's pie, I'm going to have to go, like, something's going in there.
I love that. I love that so much, because to me, I'm like, yeah, do it. Know the rules and then break the rules.
Brewers are going to brew, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's some of the competitions I did. I have gone into. I've had like a black IPA, and people are going, "Why am I getting jam on it?" And going, "Yes, because I've put some really like jam, but like some really fruity hops." So again, that's great. If I had a jammy.
I'll drink a jammy.
I'm a fan.
IPA.
I would as well.
Don't send it off to competitions. So Plan B was the first, and then we went to do what was then. We still didn't have a name for Cursed, which was the recipe from the first competition I won, just the American Power. It's really sessionable, 4.2 American Power.
Nice.
I literally got to the brewery to do it. So I'd lost my key. So I'd parked about 20 metres away from the entrance to the brewery. I walked in and I'd lost my key, my van key. How have I done that? I found that, and then we went to start brewing. You know, it's a busy day, and obviously we're getting it shorter and shorter now. We know more and sort of more organised. Yeah. And first things first, the pump just didn't work, so we had to dismantle the pump, take that apart, and luckily we had another seal, put that on it. We're just staring at it boiling. We're like, got to call this cursed. Yeah.
That feels like the most perfect name.
Yeah. So we started with our sort of like American hopped. You know, we thought they'd be quite popular as well, but Plan B is the only one so far that we've done twice. Okay. That's really popular. But it's nice having that, because with the EKG in it, the East Kent Goldings, it's just got that little sort of hedgerow prickle to it on top of the sort of the Simcoe, I think it is in there, and just like, it's a good balance. And I suppose again that's our twist. Then we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We want our beers to be, hopefully have our signature on them, because you'll say, oh, this one, you probably get to expect a degree. If we release a pale, you probably our parameter, because it's only what we know. But yeah, it's nice to have a little twist just on that. So we did that. So they were the first two we did, and for our launch we had another two. So we did a red, because that's one of them. If you walk in, well, personally, if I walk in and see a red, I'm gonna have a pint of that. I'm not going to have 4 pints, 6 pints, but it's an interesting beer, isn't it? Because it can be quite diverse and relatively. Yeah. It's not rare, but you know, people aren't knocking them out all the time. And the fourth beer we had was the Avalon, which was the English pale, all English ingredients, and I really like that. That on cask is just lovely. It's really traditional. Sort of. So we thought with them 4 covers the bases really. So the 2 Americans, so we had a 5.4. For Plan B, and then the 4.2 for Cursed. So, and people drink with their eyes, you know. People drink with percentage, the look of the can, the name of it. Yeah. So, and that was we thought it was quite because we really did obviously have to think about that range really. You don't want to come out with 4 pails or sort of.
I feel like that just really leads me really nicely into my next question, which is about people sort of looking with their eyes at the labels and everything else like that. Like how did you come up with sort of the label designs?
So we designed all the labels ourselves. We're both from sort of quite creative backgrounds. The labels themselves with the dots, we it's creative and basically not getting sued, so we use
that's important.
I was like, have you taken a book? This is another. Have you taken a book out, a page out of another brewery local to us' book?
So we use all our own photos or things we've designed, and because we use the small dot pictures on them, it's then a unique. It's not just a picture; it's the unique. Not unique, but it's very much our style of the sort of. It's not like pixelated, but the little round dots for it. Yeah. But the thing that took the longest in everything we did with brewery so far was coming up with the logo. We took about 3 months. Honestly, it was ridiculous.
Your logo's hidden. It's hidden in
the Mysterious.
In the Mysterious as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think I literally moved the sticker that you gave me. I think I literally put it on the table in the other room. Yes, behind you. If you're watching the video, which you should be watching the video, so you could have just seen these labels. Yeah, how did you come up? What was the process of coming up with that?
We came up with. I mean, showing us we both know what we don't want rather than what we did want, and we'd come up with ideas and we go, I like it, but, and then sort of both to each other, and it was to the point where I thinking maybe there's just we don't like that. And then Adam he'd seen something, this invisible an idea, and then I'd sort of come up with that, but more central, and be like, yeah, it's good, but, and I knew there'd just be one trick. And then I was speaking to a friend of mine who's a graphic designer, and he goes, oh yeah, it's good, because it was in a square, and he says, but you do realise that all socials are circular.
All circles, yeah.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
I wouldn't have thought that.
But it didn't work in the middle, and he said, so I sent it to him, he sent it back just off centre, and I was like, perfect. And the amount of people that are looking at it going, I never say what it is or why. So it pulls people in.
Yeah.
And also it's mysterious.
Yeah, it's mysterious because it's like kind of half of a person.
Well, that's another bit of genius, is that when we can't answer a question, people say, well, why is it this? You go, well, yeah.
You can go, I can't tell you, that's a mystery.
Not supposed to work it out from the bat. So I quite lucky. even the name Mysterious was that was probably one of the quickest things for us, because the first beer that I won the competition for was called Mystery Fox, after my niece. She just came in and named some stuffed fox. She goes, "Oh, it's Mystery Fox." I'm like, okay, brilliant.
I love that.
Yeah, so we're Mysterious, and it was available on all platforms. So we're like, wow,
Amazing.
That's
Yeah.
incredibly.
Yeah.
I will say that's incredibly smart to be like,
Yeah.
let me check the platforms real
available,
quick.
yeah.
It is available.
Yeah, nice.
yeah. I think there's like one obscure defunct podcast in America that was Mysterious Podcasting or something. We're like,
Yeah.
that's fine. We can take that. Yeah,
Take that hit.
yeah. So yeah, we got lucky on that, because there's not many names that aren't taken by
Yeah.
any sort of organisation. So yeah, got lucky really. So yeah,
That's quite smart to even check that, because I probably wouldn't have even. I think we like.
You see?
Yeah, I think that we looked, but like I don't think I looked that hard when I looked, because we already had the Instagram name
Yeah,
from you.
I'd
so
already
it's like-
used it. It was already my Instagram name, so we were like,
yeah, well,
thing.
wouldn't have even thought of like, let me check the American market or anything else. So that is incredibly smart of you.
Well, yeah, my business partner is far smarter than me on that front. So when you see Adam, yeah,
I'll be like, nice. In terms of that divide then, so do you both get involved in the brewing process and the recipe creation, or do you have very split, like do you kind of all do a little bit of everything, or do you have very split sort of tasks within the brewery?
we say to everyone, everything is Mysterious Brewing. Yeah, we do. There's bits of some stuff that one of us will do more than the other, sometimes just convenience, but everything is split down the two. We haven't you've met us. You've met me. I haven't really got an ego, despite walking around with a mohawk and standing out. I just like, I'm not too proud. Like, and it's this is our baby basically. It's our conception, and yeah. So everything's 50-50 down there. You know, some days one of us is doing more than the other, and yeah, we're just doing what we can. And that's been great to sort of pull in our resources of sort of jobs we've had and skills we've had and favours we've sort of pulled in from people. It's been so useful from both of us, really. It's really lucky. So Adam was a cameraman, so obviously photography's a shoe-in for him. Yeah,
Nice.
and I sort of studied graphic design, and he's obviously quite good at all that as well. So the sort of can designs and things like that has been, you know, all that doodling in your bedroom as a kid and stuff. Because it used to be that sort of design a record sleeve sort of thing, isn't it? But then
Yeah.
you got the opportunity to do a beer can. That's the new record sleeve, isn't it?
Which you say that though, but it's like the logo behind you, the way it kind of sits, almost looks like it's like a 45 a
Yeah,
bit
true.
as well, like in a really cool way. Like it looks like the sleeve for like a little 45.
Yeah. So we've just like, and some things we probably don't even really appreciate because we just know. So we don't know everything obviously, but the things we do know have been a great help for us, and the willingness of people to come on board and help us. So yeah, it's been good. And we've had friends. We've had some of Reading Amateur Brewer come along on brew days and canning days and come and helped us. And there's other people like Greg at the Hive. He's come up and helped us doing the brew. And yeah, everyone just loves it, don't they? You know, sort of come along for a brew day.
Everyone loves a brew day.
Everyone loves a brew day, and like literally, it's the weirdest stuff that I like as well. It's like I actually genuinely like digging out the mash. Like people like that is the worst thing. I was like, no, I actually genuinely like it because I feel like I've put in a lot. Like I feel like it takes effort. You've got to put in the effort to do it, and it is just that sense of accomplishment of when you actually dig it out and it's done and it's dusted, and it just like the nice smells and the steam, and like I genuinely like it, and I like the wort. I like drinking the wort.
Lovely. Yeah.
People think it's weird because some people are just like immediately no. I'm like, I think it's really enjoyable. I really like it.
Yeah, it's lovely. So isn't it like the brewer's treat or something? You have the wort with a bit of whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
it's
Damien
just-
from Emperors loves
Damien
that.
from Emperors always loves a bit of whiskey and wort.
I've never had it. I've
No, we've not
literally only
done-
had the wort.
We just drink the regular wort without
I
it.
drink it,
I
yeah.
start drinking whiskey at sort of by the time that's going, it's like
Right,
game over, isn't it?
that time in the morning.
Yeah. But while I was at the brewery the other day, and Andy at Little London, because he's still brewing, he was doing a porter, and he handed it to me, and it was really warm, the wort, and it was like a hot chocolate, and I was like, you know what? I would just drink this as it is, just this temperature, put it in a mug, not a glass,
mulled porter or something. Heat it up.
Yeah, lovely. But yeah, it works lovely. And that's what I can get. So have you had like super malt? Because I see the kids drinking super malt and that.
No,
And
I've never had it.
Well,
I'm thinking, what's that? And then so I bought a can, thinking it's just really sweet work. It's like-
I feel like now I need to get a can of it to verify because I've never had
yeast.
that.
I wonder what happened if we put yeast with it.
Yeah.
That could be an experiment in itself.
No one told these kids.
Yeah, it's the starter for beer.
Yeah, lovely.
Right. Which one should we do next? Should
yeah,
we
let's
do Sitka Spruce
I
or
would
Black
go for
IPA?
Black IPA.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go. Black Light. Black IPA. I love a Black
Do love a
IPA.
Black IPA.
So I'll let you pour it and then I'll tell you.
I am a Black IPA fan.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I mean,
Do you know what?
because
Someone
of
the other
body
week
of it.
said to me that they were like, I think Black IPA is dying out. I'm like, I think you are wrong.
It's always just that you always have that like one or two people
When
as
they
well
say
that are
it.
like they're like a Black IPA that no and a white stout no and you're like
More for us, isn't it?
Yeah,
Then?
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah. So I love a black IPA because I think you can take heavier adjuncts to it, which this hasn't got. But you can put. So I remember Elusive doing one with Earl Grey tea in it, and I don't like Earl Grey. It was a bergamot, and it was amazing. It was just just lovely. So you can imagine like drinking jam in your black IPA, can't you? It would be
Oh,
lovely.
yeah.
I really genuinely that you need to make that again. That's got to be another thing.
So me, the opposite of what I said earlier, me sort of making something and then putting a twist on it. This is pretty traditional. I thought we'd do black IPA and be Cascadian dark. Other than
Yeah.
the dry hop of Amarillo, which I don't know if you'll get. Because the plan was to have a little orange tinge on the end of it, which I
I
don't.
think there is a little bit.
Okay, yeah, some people do, but when I did like a pilot brew of it, it came through.
Yeah.
I think it worked better with more of like an English pithy orange hop.
I definitely get like roasty is definitely like the main note first and foremost, and there's that like a nice balance of bitterness. I wouldn't have said orange until you said orange, and because that's like I'm looking for that now. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's like, it is pithier orange rather
Very-
than like orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing that's there, like in the like linger at the end, like
Yeah.
that sort of like aftertaste at the end. That I'm like, okay, yeah, I actually now that you say that, I completely get that.
Put it
Yeah.
in the aroma.
Yeah,
It's like orange peel.
So I was talking. So we did a tap takeover at the Greyfriars at the weekend, and Andy Parker was there, and James from Iron Pier. And we were talking about but you're doing your tasting notes on the can before you brewed it. Because you ordered
Yeah.
the stickers.
Yeah.
That power of suggestion, but it definitely has got Amarillo in it. So, and people have said it to me without me leading that way, going, "Am I getting orange on this?"
There we go. I do like a little bit of
It's
amber.
But yeah,
really
we were
nice.
happy with it. It's it's quite a. I think it's got the roast and the what's a little bit of chocolate on it, but it's
yeah.
Yeah.
mellow.
I would say like cacao, like the chocolate wise, like cacao type
Yeah.
chocolate. It's really nice. I see. I love the roastiness. I'm like all about the
In
roastiness.
the black IPA, I like a bit more roastiness over
and I
like
think the
resinousness.
Cascade brings it out because that bitterness from that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
More the perceived sort of chocolate taste on it. Yeah.
So the name Black Light, where did that come from then for this one?
It's a bit of an irony, really. Again, we've sort of at the point of naming beers when you're homebrewing. You're like, oh, brilliant, and you come up with these wacky names and ridiculousness. So I just thought an oxymoron. We don't really want long titles on them. We don't want any sort of in jokes. So yeah, Black Light, and it just works because it's not heavy black roast like a stout.
Yeah.
It's a little bit lighter. So yeah, that was one that it didn't go around the houses. It was sort of mentioned, and we were like, yeah, that works. Yeah.
You're avoiding those like early 2000s emo band names where it's like 3 sentences long. You're like, no, not that. Let's do the opposite of
I
that.
found the can.
But of course, the other thing is you got to check that no one else recently has used that, particularly a
Yeah.
local brewery, because with Plan B, but we brewed it, and then saw Ruth at Elusive. She goes, we did a plan B. It's like, got to check.
Yeah, they did do. That was in lockdown.
Yeah.
Because I saved the can label of that for sure. That was. I remember having that in lockdown. But yeah, is that a thing that you've got? Like, so that's really interesting that you say that. Actually, like when you come up with the beers and then you go, okay, what name do we want to do, and then you settle on a name. Do you then go through, like, do you have to like Google it? Do you have to see how much effort do you put into kind of being like, oh, who's got this name, or is it just more from a I've not seen this, I don't think this is one?
No, so we go on Untapped, but they tend to come up with the American ones. If you think, there's one that's not around anymore. So now I tend to Google, say Blacklight, I would Google Blacklight Siren, Blacklight Elusive, Blacklight Phantom, So you have to go through.
Can you just go Blacklight UK beer? That is so much dedication to be like every single one of them.
The thing is, we don't want to like look like we're copying it. I'm sure they don't think we are. And Ruth was only joking when she said it, but it's just you don't want to.
She's so sassy.
Yeah, I know.
She is so sassy.
That's why we love her.
Yeah, that's exactly why I love her.
Because we talked about them when we were forming the brewery, and she came down. She goes, "Well, the one bit of advice I'll give you is don't do it."
Yeah,
So every time we see
totally
her now, we're like, right, Ruth.
I 100% believe that.
Yeah, but Ruth, she's funny.
Oh yes, we're big Ruth fans. We love her. Yeah, this is this is just like 5.5%, and I kind of don't feel like it feels like 5.5% either.
Well, I should give you advance notice that if you have this with a chocolate cookie or something that's had like cocoa powder in it, it's so nice. Sorry,
I would have had one at the ready.
Yeah.
I mean, I should have done that, but I literally gave Tori the beers, and the next day I googled, I messaged you, didn't I, saying, "What beers did I give you?" Because I got to put something.
It was which ones did I give you again? I think it was these ones, and you were right. I was like, they are the exact ones that you gave me. To be fair, you had quite a busy weekend, and I'm very grateful you managed to fit in dropping the beers off and all of that. I was like, how dare you, go to work and then run to a tap takeover and then try to accommodate me? I mean, come on now.
Well, luckily, you weren't the hard one to get to. Luckily, you live about 3 miles away from me. Obviously, Joe's a bit further, so it had to be when Joe was crossing paths.
Yeah, and actually she happened to very fortuitously be like, I need to swap something with you. I was like,
I've forgotten a beer
perfect.
for something we've got to record, and I was like, I forgot a beer. I was like, oh, I am coming. I was like, I can divert to your way on the way home from where I'm going.
And I was like, this is perfect.
Like, let me see what I can do.
Perfect. Save me postage as well. So
Yeah.
Perfect. That would have cost me the
Happy to
beers I
help
sent you anyway. So
Well, we appreciated it because I was like, I'll just buy it. Just tell me where I can buy them. I'll just buy them. So you were very, very kind with that. So we really do appreciate it.
yeah, no problem.
So how do you actually, like, when you're coming up with these recipes, like how do you go about going, oh, I think this is what I want to do? And do you do like a test batch of everything you brew, or are you kind of at a stage now where you go, actually, I'm quite confident that this will work, and you just go with it?
So the first 5 beers, probably, like this one, I did a test batch. Yeah, we did, but now we haven't got time to do that. I mean, if I did a test batch, it would only take a couple of more hours to do 1,000 litres. So what's the point?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're learning. I mean, to be fair, I didn't really make the only mistakes, air quotes, I made home brewing where when I was really going like out of the parameters just to check if I put absolutely loads of brown sugar in this, how dry will it be?
Yeah.
Very dry.
Yeah, but then I would see brown sugar and I'd be like, yes. Like I wouldn't even. I'd be like immediately yes.
But I
You've
love
got me
that
with brown sugar.
Brown sugar, sort of, it can be like. So I've made a barley wine, the brown sugar, the home brewing, and it's now turned to like sort of molasses kind of flavour, and it's lovely. And I wanted that, but I was never going to do that in 3 weeks. So yeah. Lesson learned. So no, we don't. So now. We're doing it within just the parameters of how we make beers, and we've had advice on scaling up. But even things which is interesting is the hop utilisation of it's the oils from the hops, as you well know, and there's a lot more surface area per volume for it to stick to in a 20-litre keg, whereas if we do it in a 1,000-litre keg, it's got more surface area, but there's a lot more beer in there, so you're getting more out of your beer, out of your hops really into your beer. So we're finding that's working really well. So we're now into sort of wind back a bit on certain things. We don't want any green beers going out the door. We've had a few when we're like, I'm getting furry teeth off this, so it's another week. No. And just like, so you just can't release, unless we're happy with it, it has to sort of sit in tank. Particularly with the hazy, because the hazy one we did was absolutely, we went stupidly overboard with the hops because we just scaled up one that I had done a small batch of. And I was speaking to John, the head brewer at Ascot, and he said essentially what you're doing is making a shepherd's pie in a teaspoon, and then you're making a shepherd's pie. And oh yeah, they don't scale the same.
Yeah.
That is a very good way to sort of compare it. Also, yeah, John is also, I just want to say for the record, John is also a very lovely person.
Yeah. Again,
every time I see him, it's always like big hugs, just so happy, just such a friendly person. Oh,
such a nice guy.
Incredibly nice, yeah,
they're brilliant. I mean, even so, at Peak Ender, where I saw you last, Joe, we were with Jim Double Barrels, head brewer, equally the same. So now I'm emailing him water profiles. I'm like, I'm trying to dial this in, and he's like, just ask me anything, and it's just nice to know. Am I creating a cardinal sin if I do this? He's like, no, that's fine. What you're doing, but just everyone just so lovely. Yeah,
people really underestimate those water profiles, I'll just say. So those are valid questions, because I feel like people really underestimate.
Well, they underestimate and over, because I've been at homebrew club meetings before, and Andy Parker's been there, and people have asked him a question, and I can see him almost trying not to roll his eyes, because you can really overthink.
Yeah.
You can get it right, but then if you're worrying about, you're trying to, especially if you're doing a 19 litre batch and you're trying to put 2 grams of something in there, you're not going to achieve that.
No.
2 grams, no grams, isn't it?
That's not doing anything,
Yeah. So.
Have you got any advice for home brewers? Like, if people want to get into home brewing, and if home brewers want to get into commercial brewing, what would your advice be?
So, home brewers would be find a homebrew club, definitely. And that's, like I say, the best wisdom Andy passed on to me, Andy Parker, was join Reading Amateur Brewers. And they're so inclusive. They're great, because you take what you brew. I mean, all my friends used to say, "Oh yeah, your beer's amazing," but they're getting free beer, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're kind of going to say, it's like your mum saying, "That's a great drawing."
I'll put it right here on the fridge.
But you go there, and people will say, "Oh, well, I get a bit sort of like you say, it's a bit buttery," and then they'll say why it's buttery, and I've taken beers before and said, "Well, there's something just not quite right," and then someone's picked out that it was fermented a little bit too high, and I'll be like, "It's funny you should say that, because my Inkbird was playing up, and I went in there and it had gone too high," but someone had just picked that out from tasting it. So it's so amazing, and everyone just wants you to do better, and then you sort of get into entering competitions of beers you wouldn't necessarily be making, and you're learning that way. So that's what I found, as just making. I mean, I never would have made a spruce beer had it not been for like Reading Amateur Brewers doing this, and it's like, well, quite bonkers. But join. And I mean, I'm finding now there's people in Yateley, because they're coming to me and asking me things. And Yateley's like, it's got a small town. They're saying, I brew in Yateley. I'm like, well, where were you when I was home brewing? I don't know. And I said, join Reading Amateur Brewers. No, well, I just do a bit. And like, I'd give out any advice I could. I said, like, come round, or if you want a recipe from any of the beers we've done, you can have them. It's just I can never remember what the phrase is, but isn't it something a high tidal boats rise or something like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you'll go up together. So that's the best bit. I mean, if there isn't one local to you, then obviously online it's got a lot of things. But one thing I would say of that is forums are quite useful, but also you don't know who's giving you the advice. If you can be in a room and someone's giving you advice, and you can sort of see and kind of think, you're a gatekeeper, but the way you're giving the advice, my way or no way. Because I mean, like anything, there's 101 ways to do it.
Yeah,
you can make the same beer 3 different ways. Might taste slightly different, but it won't be wrong.
Yeah.
I still see things now. So even at this is not brewing wrong, but the when we were at Peak End, the Thornbridge have done that the lager with Budvar.
Oh, Checkmate.
Checkmate.
Yeah, that's amazing. And they're saying, well, basically, it's Maris Otter, was an ale malt, Fuggles, an ale hop, and then lager yeast. We're like, well, if it wasn't for the yeast, there would be an ale, and it's amazing. It tastes like a lager. So going to that. And as for getting into the industry, again, like I say, you can approach brewers. I mean, if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, they won't talk to you. But so many other people will just say, yeah. Or if you say you want to come for a brew day, then a lot of places will be quite happy for you to do it and ask. Obviously, you can't be asking questions by someone really busy doing things. And obviously, the way we've got into it is by Cuckoo Brewing, and that's the other thing. There are Andy at Little London. He's 80 next year, and he just does pilot brew. So obviously, he's not going to be wanting to do it. I mean, he still lifts casks around, so he's better than me in 10 years, and he's 80 years old.
He's better than I am now.
And so we're sort of essentially we must be keeping him going because he's not making. He's living up. So he started in 2016, and then not long after that, obviously, was COVID, and that gave him a kick in. So he hasn't made a lot of beer essentially in that brewery. So we're kind of helping him go in, paying the rent, and he just loves beer. He loves talking it. We talk recipes and sort of things. So we're a bit more cutting edge than him. Because he does his traditional sort of ales and stuff, and so we're getting him onto pellet because he was leaf and everything, and so there's places where there's a lot of breweries that Cuckoo Brew that you wouldn't know.
Yeah,
a lot of them, because I was talking to your colleague, your Barthaus, Tom. Tom, about Zapato, because I love their beers. I'm like, they appear to be bonkers, and he was sort of saying that they, in one form or another, sort of Cuckoo brews, and you wouldn't know, and there's obviously nothing wrong with it. You're making beer, and some people just contract brew. They have their recipe. So there's so many ways in that are a little less risky, shall we say? I mean, we've made no secret that our goal is our own brewery and tap brew.
I was waiting for you to say like world domination or something. I was like, nice. I was like, do it. Say it.
At the time. So it's just we wouldn't have been able to do it without Andy at Little London. So it's been so good, and we're currently still doing our day jobs part time to do the brewery, and it is working. Yeah, it's great. So our supportive wives, and just work every day, don't sleep, which is great.
It's like you're like, it's great.
But if it wasn't for like the event, I mean, we enjoy the brewing side of it, and meet people. But then you say, because you get to go the other side and see people drinking it and drink the beer with people. Every work event's great fun, to the point where you're like, I should really wind some of them in and maybe go for a run.
I don't even work in the industry, and I'm just like, I just volunteer sometimes, and then just go to do things like podcast things and stuff. And even then, I'm like, this is just like a fun hobby on the side. And I think, oh god, I'm spending so much time doing these things. These are all the fun things. I'm like, there's so many other things that I need to make sure I'm doing, but these are the fun things. I want to do the fun things. So I can imagine that, like, if that is your like actual, like, your job, that you kind of go, like, it's your business, that on some level it's it's super fun, but then you probably are even more likely to get sucked in to the whole that is all the fun beer stuff you can do.
And we're finding that we've got to be in more places, because if I walk into your pub and say there's 3 beers, we take them on, and then they don't see me again, they get an email in a month. Whereas if I go in there in a couple of weeks' time and have a pint and chat, say how's it been, obviously we can't do that for 50 pubs, because it would be dead. But so we're being in more places, so we have to be out in places. But then it's that thing of, I say to people, I don't go drinking beer to get drunk. Obviously it is a byproduct of it. Probably like yourselves, you'll go out and your perfect afternoon, evening is loads of beers, but no two the same.
Yeah. I think some people do have stuff to say about that, though, because I think there's the opposite of some people are like, oh well, if you like something, then what's the problem with having multiple of it? And I say there's nothing wrong with that at all. My thing is, I like having the variety. I like trying weird and wonderful stuff, like the funkier, the more interesting, the even if it's not something that on paper someone would go, oh, that's crazy, but you just go, oh, the fact that you use those hops in that beer, or this yeast strain, or you've used this technique or stuff like that, I go, that's incredibly interesting, and that makes me want to try it now. And there's so many amazing beers out there that I like to spread the love, try as many different places as I can, and just try as many different beers and just go, actually, that sounds interesting, I'll have that. I mean, obviously, if I'm at a place where there's only a smaller variety and I find one thing I like, of course I'm just going to have that one thing on repeat. But then that's what I kind of think, like, core range beers are really good, because then I know I can go back to that one, that you know, nice one that I know that I definitely like, that I can have whenever I want. But then I'd like to take the risk outside of that to go, oh, those are really good, let's see if that pays off and how it tastes.
Yeah, definitely. People think it's weird that I have a research fridge, because I've still got loads of bits. So if I've done a pilot brew or something, and I'll have like 19 litres of it in my Keezer ready to serve, but I'm like, well, them beers, and they're not yours. And I'm like, well, I know what my beers taste like.
Right. As
much as I'll happily drink them, we go out tap takeovers, I drink them, and tonight it's great, I get to enjoy it. And I just like, I've just got a fridge that's stacked with stuff, and I see it and think, that's weird, that's interesting, that's nice, that should be lovely, that's someone I trust, so I'm going to see what they've done with that.
How did they do that?
Yeah, or it's like a different hop, an experimental hop. Like the only way you're going to know is by somebody putting in a beer.
Putting in a beer and drinking it, exactly.
That's pretty much how I drink, really. And it's I do also realise it's a justification for drinking loads of beer.
Yeah. Same.
That's all right. We're like, it's podcast related. We gotta get it's podcast related.
It's more beer
fine.
turned up. Yeah.
It's podcast. It's for the podcast.
I'm at work. Leave me alone.
It's podcasting. In terms of, you mentioned about asking sort of breweries to do brew days and stuff for people that wanted to get involved in it. Like, do you think that, you know, from Mysterious point of view, that you guys would ever sort of do a brew day, whether that be just inviting the local homebrew club down, or an international women's collaboration brew day, or anything like that that might sort of like open up? I know that obviously it's probably more challenging with a cuckoo brewery, but is there sort of any thoughts of that being something that you'd in the future like to do?
Absolutely. We've said to everyone we meet, like, if you want to come down for a brew day, as long as people understand, I mean, you understand, because some people think brew day, oh brilliant, like, when do we start drinking? You're like, well, this will be ready in 3 weeks, so
right.
To be fair, it depends on what brew day it is. Sometimes you go to a brew day and there are people that you're like,
do anything, and they just give you beer, like.
And then there's other times where you're like doing like all the things,
putting the grain in. Like we went to one the other week, and we were just like, right, we're ready to get stuck in. They were like, no, we want you to have a nice time. Like, go and sit down, have a beer, and we were like, okay, but when do we get to do something?
I want to do something. I feel useless. I feel like I'm not being helpful, and I don't like that.
Like, no, it's fine. We're doing that. You go and do it. We were like, oh, okay. We can dig out the mash, though, yeah?
Show me the mash. Press a button and the machine just does it. So we welcome anyone. Well, not anyone. Obviously, we don't want like 15 people in there, but we've had people come down. And it's a help for us, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam, and a lot of things are sort of two-man jobs. So one of us can be in the office doing something, and somebody sort of digging out or just mashing in. Happy to tell everyone how it goes, and that's for the International Women's Day beers. And so we've got. Obviously we've got loads of ideas knocking around, but so our wives were saying we should do a wives beer. I sort of saying to them, and Sarah's not as confident to know what every hop flavour like. And so I'm saying to her, like, every time we have a beer, we'll work out what hop is in it, or say what flavours you like in it, and we'll find hop for that, and then we'll find a malt bill that goes with it. So we've got ideas on that, and so I've always followed the international women's beer, is it the Brave Noise, isn't it?
Yeah,
that was great. So
we're always big proponents of people should sign up and do that, even though it's technically the initiative has ended. You can still, in the sense of applying on the website, you can still email them, you can still do all that, and that's like, for us, we're always like, definitely do it if you can. We appreciate not everyone can do it, but if you can do it, we want people that are already doing the good things to continue to to let people know that you're doing the good things. So that's like,
then we also
that's a really good one.
2 blokes doing it, so
you'd be surprised how many people that are speaking to people like Spookton, like James Spookton, who's like, I kind of felt like it wasn't my place to do it, but then I kind of felt like, well, I should do it because I care about this, and it is that like whole challenge there of like, you can kind of feel like, oh, it's not my place, but at the same time it's like, if you have that platform, people will listen to it, and so that's also like equally, it is quite an important, it's something to contemplate. But again, like I said, appreciate not everybody is in a position where they can do it because of what's involved in it. But it's
Yeah, we're open to all ideas, really. Yeah, we're happy to have people down. I mean, what we really want is people on canning day, because that's the most mundane ever.
To be honest, I would come help you on a canning day, because that's probably the one thing that I've never like got to do yet so far yet. I've not got to do anything that had to do with canning. It's always been like the brewing process, and it was really cool. Like, I've had experiences every time I go to a brew day. I feel like there's always something new that I get to do. It's like breaking off hops from the brick and like ripping them apart. Like, that's good. I got to do that for the first time more recently, and using special products that you don't get to use all the time in brew days. That was another time. I've never got to do a canning line, and I feel like that would just be really interesting, to be completely honest. But I would feel really bad, because I'd be like, that's really important, what if I screw it up? But I'd find it really interesting to learn about.
It's just so boring. But yeah, it needs to be done. So, but the only good thing of it is there's loads of beer, because it's got the way we do it. So we've got, we bought Elusive's old canning sets up, and they're upgraded. And, the good thing is that it's bad for us. So much beer goes out the door because you've got to chuck it through there to chill the lines, ready for it to fob. So we're sitting there with like 20 litres of beer there. So we've always got a glass of beer there.
Oh no! Not again. Okay.
The trouble is, it's not even near a station where we are. So it's like, it's mainly really
it's got to be painful.
You can come along for one of them, and then we'll put you off it.
There you go.
Oh, I would love that. I would love watching that. Before we get to the last bit, because obviously I'm conscious that we're slightly over what we said we were going to keep you, so we appreciate you sticking with us. But in terms of, I've got a question of how often do you sort of go, okay, we're going to brew a new beer now, like a new recipe. How often are you doing completely new recipes?
It's not that. It's not really, we don't really have it set to a certain time. We have our beers in there, but we don't want loads of beers hanging around, so we kind of do, because it's the two of us, we brewed all our beers. So we haven't brewed, we've got 2 in the tank at the minute, so we've got a sessionable, like a 3.8% sessionable pale, it should be a tropical pale, a bit of verdant yeast in there.
Oh, nice.
And our first lager. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so we're using the Nova Lager yeast, which is like an ale lager yeast, but is lager. Yeah, no, it's like an ale yeast. Sorry, so it can ferment out in like 5 days. So I did actually do a test brew of that because I didn't believe it, and I'm looking at faults for it, and I've given it to Adam. Like, what can you think's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Like, nothing. Like, damn right, we're gonna have to brew this, and people keep saying, yeah. So we've got them in the tank at the minute. But before that, it felt like quite a long time since we brewed, because we had things in the brewery, in the chiller room, and we was like, right, well, let's need to sort of hamp this down. So our spare time was going out to bottle shops and pubs and doing a bit more online and, sort of clearing down. And then you get that problem, like, we look at the list of what's promised everywhere. It's like, right, okay, now we need to brew.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
So
that's probably when you see it in front of you and you're like, oh no, what have we done?
Yeah, so we'll and then we'll probably brew again next week. So yeah, it's sporadic. I just couldn't. We need to find the rhythm. Ideally, we need to be brewing so much just to keep up. But I mean, the dream is obviously to have sold half of it before you brewed it. In a sense that so many pubs. And we've got some pubs that will take not whatever we do, but we'll take essentially whatever we do. Yeah, because we're not going to do anything ridiculous. So a few pubs in Reading, and it's the whole thing really. It's building. It's every part of the business, from brewing, cleaning, selling. We're just building. But then we remember we're 5 months old.
Yeah. That's what I was like. That's quite impressive already. With how it was, I was more asking because of the fact that how many you said you've already done, and I was just like 5 months. Oh, like that feels like there's so many you've already done in 5 months.
We've done 8, but 9 because we've done Plan B twice. 9, and there's 2 in the tank.
Still impressive.
It is. It's been quite ambitious, but then we don't come back around, do we?
Right, should we get on to this final one, and then we'll talk to you about sort of the future of what you want?
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
I have already had it.
I haven't. She did tell me. She's like, I already had it. And I was like, all right. Show off. The colour on it is lovely already.
It's beautiful.
So the first lesson we learnt with this is that we saw it written down until we said it out loud. Bearing in mind, one's called Citra Triangle and this one's called Sitka. And
Yeah.
they're quite different on paper until Adam said from one side of the brewery, "Can you pass me a
To
box?"
the Sitka.
Like the what? And just, my face just went like, "Oh my god,
Oh no.
What have we done?
Armand's nightmare, isn't it?"
Yeah.
It's just, it looks beautiful.
Yeah. It smells lovely.
But yeah, we're really happy how this came out. So this is from it was a homebrewing winning recipe, the spruce tips, and I love an ESB. So it's an ESB
Yes.
used with spruce
Love an
tips.
ESB.
And of course, I brewed that once and then thought, am I going to recreate that with,
That is insane. This was
Right.
not what I expected it to
What you
taste like.
expected?
Oh my god.
Exciting.
Sorry.
Not what I expected. Oh
So
my goodness,
I've
that is
always
lovely.
been like, whenever I see anything that's got spruce tips in it, I'm like, I'm drinking it. And Tori's always been like, oh no, like spruce. Oh, it's
That's
always-
not true.
it's always been-
No,
but
that's
there
not
are-
true.
but
I've
there
never
are
said
times
that.
when
I've
you've
never
been
said
like-
that.
you've been
I've
like,
never
oh,
said that.
Spruce, so I don't know. And like, because sometimes depending on what you use, sometimes it can be piney rather than this. So
Fundamentally
I had-
untrue. I really liked Wild Weathers, and that's the only real one that I've had.
I had
So.
a spruce beer when I was in Alaska, and it was a spruce blonde, and it had this real fruitiness to it, and that's what this has got.
I was going to say, it's so
And it's
fruity.
yeah, like it always reminded me of like plums, and that's what this reminds me of.
plums.
Like just
Oh,
the
like that.
spruce is so
Yeah.
it's so good.
Well, we're claiming it is the only spruce ESB in the world.
Ooh,
Because no one's
It
coming
is-
at us.
Yeah. It is just insane because it has
So
that. It's got
lovely.
like this dry fruitiness, but like really fruity, like almost like bordering on like almost a jammy dried fruitness, and it's just not what I expected.
Yeah.
When I think spruce, and I think, oh, it's a bit piney, and I will disagree with the fact that I have ever said, oh, I don't
you
know about
definitely
spruce.
were like, oh,
I have
no,
not.
I don't know about that. You have,
Find
you
the
definitely
recordings. Find the recordings. I think it's more that I just go, oh, like pine's okay. It's not like my, the piney flavors are never usually like my most favorite. And sometimes when it is sprucey, it tends to be a more bitter beer,
Yeah.
and it tends to be more of like the piney resinous type sort of beers. And I like them more now. Previously, I used to be like, oh, I don't know. But I think when I just see spruce, I think it's probably going to be more like West Coasty, more bitter, more like piney, more. But this is like so far removed from what I was expecting it was going to taste like.
It's what I want. Whenever I see a spruce beer, this is what I want. Ugh.
Brilliant.
Because of that beer that I had in Alaska. And when I had it in Peakend, I was like, yes, there's that flavour that I've just not, like, I remember. And then, like, I'd got to the point where I was like, was that, like, was it as good as I remember it tasting? Like, when you haven't had something for a really long time, you're like,
Yeah. Did a
do
dream.
you like, was it as good as I remember? Like, have I hyped it up in my mind? And then I had this and I was like, yes, it was, because this is the same. Oh, it makes me so happy.
I've really enjoyed. So from when you had the tap takeover, and I've enjoyed. I said to you at the tap takeover, I really liked all the beers. They were really good. I've really enjoyed all the beers. This one, I can definitively say though, I think is my favourite.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Like literally is my favourite. Just I think because of the element of surprise as well.
Yes.
It's just so it's the flavour profiles that I love, and it was just I think because it also came so out of left field from what I expected. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because when you
I'm
give
in
it to
shock.
you say, what does it taste like? And apparently a spruce tree isn't a pine tree. A pine tree is a pine tree. So
Yeah.
spruce
Yeah.
is a Sitka or a Norwegian.
Yeah.
And it's, people get, so I think tea tree oil comes from spruce.
Yeah.
And so people get, some people get Dr. Pepper from it, cinnamon. I don't really get that. So we put a little bit of Simcoe behind it just in case it wasn't piney enough. But I
Yeah.
don't even get the Simcoe in it, to be honest. It just bags in it. So
Now I'm like, I'm like, where's the cinnamon? Come on, I've got this. Like I'm looking
loves
for it.
so basically, so I think sometimes when it can be too piney, it can be woody. So these are spruce
Yeah.
tips.
Yeah.
If you literally just got the pine needles, it probably would be very woody. So in spring, we went up to Scotland and picked it all up there because I think the air quality is going to be so much better. And
Yeah.
so we've got 6 kilos of it up there, and obviously there's just loads of it. It's just like, big candy from a baby, really. And it's residual sweetness. And this is that thing of saying, like, oh, I don't like dry beers. and this is where inverted sugars work well, because there was golden syrup in the brew, so it doesn't ferment it all out. Yeah, but it leaves that really, and it's not sickly sweet.
No.
It's sweet, and then, like you say, it's dry, which doesn't make any sense.
I love it.
I was going to ask you about, because obviously I can see on the label it says they were hand-picked in Scotland, and I was going to be like, how did you get... So you went up there and you hand-picked them? Yeah,
so my aunt and uncle live on the side of a loch in Scotland.
Wow.
Coincidentally, we were going up around that time, and he has lots to do with fisheries and things, and he said he was sending me pictures before we went there saying, this is the state of them now, and we're like, oh, this is going to be brilliant, because he knew where they were, and we just went on like a couple of mile walk, just took a malt bag, right, off we went.
Nice.
Just like, but of course, so Sitka and the Norwegian, so I think the one and the homebrew one would have been Norwegian, because there's a plantation, ironically, near Silchester, where they sort of the Reading amateur brewers picked them.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, if it's a different one, is it going to be a different? Is it not going to come through? Just such a, So we made a bit of noise before it. We didn't want to make too much noise in case it's like I'm not really getting it. And so again, the picture on the can, I took that picture while we were picking it. It was like across the.
That's cool.
Across the sort of the glen or the river from it.
That's really cool.
But it was. I mean, it was so. Brew Day was amazing. It just smelled like you were in a Christmas tree. And the whole brew, just like, because you get the sweet wort, and then that in it was just like, oh, if I can bag this up and put it somewhere. And so we had this on. So this has been on cask at a few beer festivals this year as well. Ooh. And it was on cask is amazing.
Yeah.
And there was at the Yateley one, a guy came up and had, I think it was his second beer, and he was like, I said, well, try this, and that's all he drank. That's what he drank all evening. Like,
I love that when that happens at a festival.
Yeah, and he just kept coming up going, can I have the Christmas tree beer?
It's just like, it is incredibly easy drinking. 5.8%. Like, I feel like I do not believe that. It is so easy to drink. And it is just... Yeah, I think it's not that I was going, oh, this isn't going to be nice. It's just the thing, I think, because it had the fruity, almost that fruitiness to it, that sweetness to it, that I think it pairs didn't expect that.
With the ESB so well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love an ESB, so it's malty, and the malt's in there in the body, but it's still not really kind of coming out, is it? The spruce is just building on top of it. And yeah. And I always
it does have like
layered together.
It has those like autumn vibes as well. Like I genuinely feel like it just matches this weather. Like it feels like you are going out for like a nice walk in the woods on like a slightly cool day, like it was today. It just matches.
With that power of suggestion, if you packaged this and said it's a Christmas beer, and you gave it somebody in winter at the bar on cask, you smell it when you go, oh yeah, like my Christmas tree that I left at home.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just absolutely lovely. Yeah, people need to try this. This is
so good.
So
might be my favourite one.
Do you think that would slushy quite well because of the residual sweetness?
There's not going to be enough to slushy because it's gone. This is gone before I even get the slushy making process. Is a big process. There is not going to be any of this left to slushy. I'll have to go down the next time I'm down the hive. If there's cans of this at the hive, I'll be buying another can and I'll find out if it's slushy. Maybe put a bit of golden syrup in it or something for like a little bit of the sweetness.
Well, you've got to be careful putting golden syrup somewhere cold because it does just.
No, so I've got we have this like maple syrup, not golden syrup. We've got like a maple syrup that is a little bit more liquidy than normal. So I might have to do like a squidge of that in there or something like that to see how that turns out. We'll find out.
My experimental beers was I'd put a maple syrup in, but then I realised that you need a really expensive maple syrup because it's like cheap honey, isn't it? It's 70% water and sugar.
Yeah, the thing is with slushies, it's more about the sugar, like the amount of like sugar that's in there than it is kind of like expensive. Like you could put something really expensive in and it could do nothing for the slushie versus like you could just go, here's something that's got a bit of sugar in it to sweeten things up a bit. Great. So that would be, I feel like the world would hate me if I did that, but I feel like I would try it. I've never tried to slushy an ESB before.
Yeah, it would work.
Like I said, I'll go down the hive, I'll get another can, and I will.
Slushy. You heard it here first. New episode of Will It Slushy coming soon.
Yeah, there we go. We'll find out. But yeah, so I guess in terms of looking to the future, because this is gonna be done in a minute. Yeah. Looking to the future, what do you kind of see? What are you hoping for Mysterious?
Well, as I say, our plan is our own taproom and own brewery, which we're going to assume is sort of organically going to happen with whatever happens. And we've got open conversations with Andy as to whether he comes along with us and he doesn't want hassle and he just pilot kits it, or so we need to build. And then, I mean, a lot of breweries take years finding the right place, and we've got all them things that we can't put any sort of concrete plan on to what would happen, because fate will take a lot of it. But basically it's going to be full time, knocking out great beers. Taproom has to have a taproom, really, don't you? That's the sustainable part of the brewery. And it's sort of interesting events, really, and things like that, isn't it? It's just sort of being a bit fresh with things, and just sort of doing pop-ups and just being in the sort of Reading beer scene. Just sort of just keep moving forward, really. And like, I think also you've got to be quite sort of malleable into what's happening in beer and the whole industry, haven't you? As much as you're not going to just make what the trend is, it's moving with the trend and then put your twist on the trend, isn't it? To sort of but keep moving and learning, really. Yeah,
absolutely. I've asked this question before, and I'll ask it to you. If you could build your ideal tap room, what would if you could have like anything, like sky's the limit, doesn't matter about like, you don't have to worry about the space, you don't have to worry, like, what would you put in your ideal tap room?
What to put in it? Oh gosh.
How would you make it? Yeah. Like, how would you design it? What would you do?
How weird is that I've not actually thought of it? Oh, well, I've thought of it, but not in like my dream tap room. I don't know. We have had a conversation before. I think it'd be quite cool to have it in a church, an old church.
Yeah.
But,
that would be super cool.
Yeah. You want it to be sort of comfortable and engaging for people. Sort of, it's the things you don't want, isn't it? You know, you don't want sort of techno and sort of. Yeah, and we all know how comfortable tap room seats can be. But...
Oh, you don't want big bench, so you don't want big bench. That's okay.
Well, when it comes to paying for benches,
I mean,
we'll get the benches. Yeah.
I mean, you can say you don't want big bench. You're going to end up with big bench. It's just the way of life.
Yeah.
So I think even if you don't want big bench, you get big bench.
Yeah.
Big bench. Yeah.
Are you even a tap room if you haven't got big bench?
No.
Like...
If someone gets up and you might fall off on it.
Right.
Yes. Joe and I were just talking about this the other night. It is universal. It doesn't matter the country you go to, whatever. It's big bench everywhere. It's global.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of creating an atmosphere as well, really, in sort of tap rooms, isn't it? You kind of.
Yeah.
I've been around Bristol, and some of them are amazing, aren't they? Like I love Lost and Grounded.
Yeah.
Not Lost and Grounded. Sorry. Left-Handed Giant. Well, both of those are amazing, aren't they? They're both completely different.
Yeah.
But they're both amazing.
The amount of kit in Lost and Grounded as well. I was like, it's like a sea of silver, and you're just like, oh my goodness. And I didn't realise how big Lost and Grounded was in terms of their kit size. Like,
well, that lager.
I was shocked.
That lager in.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocked, but it was so impressive. I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, the footprint of the brewery is like this big, and then like the pot that you sit at is like there, and everything else is kit, and you're like, wow.
But it's always good to see the stainless steel from where you are. I think you feel like you're in there, even if it's like a glass or something like that. It's just cool to.
I loved it. I nerded out over it. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. People just go, oh, that's interesting. But everyone else is like the face of the window, aren't they? Like homebrewers.
Like, what they got?
Beer.
That is me. Yeah, 100%. I left with like a glass Tankard, so I was like, I'm buying a glass. They were like, you can buy, there's these glasses or the Tankard ones. I was like, the Tankard one. That is what I want. It's like, I want a lager, like a proper drinking lager in mass. That is what I want.
So our future's kind of going to be panned out for us in the way that we go forward, and fate. But that's what we're heading towards. Tap room, accessible, and then you obviously want somewhere near a station, don't you?
Yeah.
Or accessible sort of place. Yeah, so look out at your old churches. A brewery coming to you.
Anytime I see an old church up for sale, I'll be like, just FYI, in case you're wondering.
Sometimes it's the last thing you're going to look for. It always makes me laugh when people have, like, I've had friends that have had 5-year plans and 10-year plans, and you're just like, whatever, and they're not sticking to them because you just can't do that, can you?
You can't. No, you got a 5-year plan, you got a 1-year plan, you got however many plans. It's never going to be the year amount that you plan on. You can't.
Every script takes you where it wants to take you.
Yeah. But I've always thought, really, ideally, you're going to be next to a bakery. If you're like an industrial unit,
Oh yeah.
a bakery there, then you're just both, living the dream, aren't you?
Yeah,
Ironically,
100%.
next door to where the brewery is a bakery, which is a nightmare when you're sort of really hungry and you smell.
Yeah, because you can smell it.
Yeah. So he's coming on board. He's when we're doing events, he's coming in and doing sort of snacks and things for. So I don't remember
Nice.
at the Hive all them cheese sticks. I don't know if you had any of them. So he
Yeah, I had those, I think, for sure.
launch.
They're really good.
But then he doesn't sell them, so he's got a place in Basingstoke where he sells. But yeah, so it'd be great. Yeah, next door to him. It's amazing. And he buys beers off us as well for his little
Nice.
cafe shop, so it's perfect. Yeah. So,
I love that. I feel like
That's great.
I'm very, very excited to see sort of like the future as well, because I'm like, well, you're local to me, so that's great. Like, so that's just one more great place that I get to go to. So I'm definitely rooting for you there, and I look forward to seeing where things end up, because I'm excited.
yeah, it's exciting. Definitely exciting. It's worth all the hard work. It's just good fun to.
Oh, good.
You're saying constructive as well, isn't it? I could never just sort of in tray out tray. I've never been sort of person that could do that sort of thing because my brain's just not. It's just not that way. I have to construct something, even if it's just something mundane. I'm making something for somebody or repairing something for somebody. And
Maker's gonna make.
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Painting a gorgeous wall at
Yeah.
Elusive.
Yeah.
Like, that is, I think that wall is brilliant,
Yeah.
personally. So, yeah.
my goal is to make it big, just so someone can make a cheesy film out of my.
Yay!
I love that. You'll write the script and you'll be like, here you go, everyone.
Okay, yeah, that's really cheesy. It's a bit Route One.
I love it.
Oh, amazing. Joe, do you have any other questions?
I think that's everything. Is there anything that you would like to plug? Do you want any places you're going to be, where people should come find you?
So one thing, so this lager that we've got that is almost ready, we'll be showcasing. We're doing a ticketed event in Burfield, Burgtoberfest. So we have an band, and so Indigo Bakes, which is next door to us, they're doing. Actually, that's a point. I think on Thursday we're doing sausage tasting at the brewery within.
Oh. This is just making me more sad, because I'm going to let you finish your plug, but this is happening while I'm away on holiday, very far away in another continent.
So, yeah,
And you're going to talk about amazing food.
yeah, possibly pretzels. I don't know. Yeah, he was talking to me
Of course
about
there will be pretzels.
My
Of
brain
course
was
there'll be
just
pretzels.
shutting down because I'm too hungry. I can't think. I can't food. There will be lederhosens.
Yes.
So that's the 20th of October. If you go on our socials, you'll be able to find tickets for that in Burfield.
Nice. We'll link it.
Lager, and there'll be our other beers will be on tap as well. So, yes.
Amazing.
So Mysterious Brewing on all the socials, as I've made aware that we are.
Across everything.
Yeah.
It is on everything. We'll link to it also in the show notes so everyone can come and find you.
Yeah.
They need to come buy your beers because they are delicious.
Cool. Yeah, well, I
Do all the
appreciate
things.
the chat. Been
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, thanks for
Everyone-
coming.
Go to the Burgtoberfest, because I can't go. Go eat the pretzels and the sausages and have the lager, because we've been on a lager kick with our lager series recently. So we have been on a lager kick. I've been craving lager. Go down there. Go have fun, because I can't go.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Go say
thank
hi to
you.
Ken.
Yeah, go say hi to Ken.
Yeah, come and say hello. Pretend you know me. It's fine. I'm the bloke with the mohawk. So yeah, no. But that's the great thing, is meeting people that you just follow on sort of Instagram and things. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
you've got a face. Yeah. So yeah, come and say hello. Me or Adam. Yeah, we're the ones in the t-shirts.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you
on.
so
This
much
was
for your
brilliant.
time.
Thank you. Cheers.
I think we need to say again.
This spruce beer is amazing.
How freaking good is this beer?
All of them are really good. Like,
They're all really
genuinely,
good.
they're all really good.
So
I
good.
think it's just this one I've taken a special liking to. I've just
It's
literally made
because-
Rick go and drink it. I was like, drink this.
It's so good, and it just reminds me of, and I think this is the amazing thing about beer, right? Is when you taste a beer and it just transports you back. to a memory or a really great time. And the flavours in this beer just transport me back to like a really good time I had at Skagway Brewing Co. in Alaska, like with my friends. Like we'd get a picture of this blonde ale and share it between us in horrible shaker glasses. But it was good times, and it just like it's those flavours, and like as I said, I thought I'd hyped it up in my head that I was like, maybe I was wrong, like maybe it wasn't those flavours. It was, because the spruce is coming across exactly the same in this. Oh, it makes me happy.
Well, I feel like, in the episode we talked about how we're people that enjoy, all three of us are people that enjoy just trying different things as opposed to like sticking with our solid favourites or anything like that. But I feel like this is definitely something I very rarely go out and go, I need to buy like this beer again. And I think this is one. Like the Pomona Island Tamaki, like that was one that I bought, like I was like, need to buy that multiple times. It was really good. There's some of the Holy Goats I might need to buy it like multiple times. I feel like with like Elusive, like sometimes I'm just really wanted like an Oregon Trail or something like that. This for me goes into one of those like, I'd buy that multiple times because I want to drink this multiple times. Like one time for me, not enough.
It's
not
very rare that I'm like, I need to go buy this beer again, because
but it is. I don't want to downplay like how good the other ones were either, because like all of them were really good as well. Especially like the Citra Triangle, for example.
So
I was not expecting to have that smooth sweetness to it, and it was just like so much smoother and sweeter.
Like Saturday afternoon when you're out at the tap room, out at the Hive, have a couple of these with mates. Good times are guaranteed.
It's amazing. I don't have anything else to say. It's
so good.
Really good.
Pleased we did.
I really want to try the lager.
Yeah.
I really want to try the lager. Because I have been craving. I feel like because we've been focusing on lagers more as well, and I've been having some really incredible lagers because we've been going like, let's go out of our way to get these lagers. I've found this it's not a newfound love at all, but it's how we talk about like the craft beer circle.
Yeah.
No. Not seasonality. The craft beer like circle. Yeah. Where you start off being like, oh, is this? And then you slowly make your way around to weird and wonderful things, and then you find yourself back at lager.
Yeah.
And that can happen numerous times. Like you can just go through these cycles.
I drink a lot
I'm back at lager.
Of Budvar at festivals now, because I'm just like, I'll just have a Budvar. Like when it's poured properly and you get it in the nice mug, and like I'll just have a Budvar. Yeah.
I find that I just recently I've been like, it was really weird because the other day I was like, I'm just craving a lager. Just for no reason other than I was like, I'm just craving a lager, just because. Yep. But I couldn't drink all the ones I had were for podcasting, and I was like, this is depresso. Like I can't have a single one. So like, I'm really excited to see like Mysterious's, because I definitely want to try it, but I can't go to the Burgtoberfest event because I won't be here. Everyone, be sorry for me.
Don't be sorry for her. She's in Japan.
Just feel sorry for me.
Don't feel sorry for her. If people want to feel sorry for you, Tori, where can they get hold of you?
If you want to give me your pity and your apologies, or you want to, you want to go and take photos and send them to me so that I can feel like I was there, I can live vicariously through you all, you can do that on Instagram at adventures_in_optimism, or you can email them to me, because that's probably the place that I'll be able to receive them better when I am in another continent, at adventuresandoptimism@gmail.com. Or if you just want to, show both of us that you listen, that you love the Sitka, that this is the beer for you,
nice.
that you're checking out Mysterious, you can message us both at A Woman's Brew on Instagram or A Woman's Brew Podcast on Gmail. Joe, if people want to try to get you to brew a spruce ESB, where can they talk to you if they want you to homebrew one?
I was thinking the other day, like, I haven't homebrewed in ages, and I just, like, I don't have the time at the minute. Like, other things are taking precedence, like this podcast. So maybe don't email me and ask me to homebrew, because you might not get a podcast. There's only so many hours in the day. But you could email me and ask me some questions about homebrewing, or you can get hold of me to ask me some questions about homebrewing. You can find me at my beer school, which is Love Beer Learning, and we are on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok and Pinterest, but I'm mostly on Instagram. Or you can come to my website. There's definitely some blog posts on there about homebrewing, and that is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Feel free to email me at lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. And you can ask me questions about why I love spruce beer so much, because I love spruce beer. It is great. I'm going to go drink it now.
Let's go drink it.
Let's go drink it.
Cheers.